and we'll get to questions. Winning's hard, and we made it harder than it needed to be at some points tonight. Um, I appreciate all the fans that came and showed and came and stayed. Obviously, the weather was a factor. Wasn't pleased with how we started, and we had the break, and I think sometimes how you handle those. We had talked about it earlier in the day and how we were going to handle it, and I thought the guys did, and showed some mental toughness. Came out within the first 4 or 5 minutes after the lightning delay, took care of business. These games are important because we got a lot of people to play, so there's a lot of video there, and some that showed on tape where they can potentially play more, and then some showed they're not ready to play yet. And that's kind of the way it works. But it's a win. A lot of respect for that program. I think Coach Schmidt, he's done a really good job. He's done a really good job for a long time. And they do some nice things schematically. They're a team that's used to winning. They weren't intimidated tonight. And they played at Florida State last year and were competitive early as well. And so kudos to them. And they got some good talent there too. So, but proud of our guys. It's hard to do, and so we'll celebrate this and then get ready for next week. So with that, Coach.
So start with Hudson. I mean, you talked about him in the fall, but obviously that's a huge break. Was Devin hurt? And
so Devin got stepped on like toward the end of Wednesday's practice, and we felt like he was going to be able to play, and then he just didn't look very good during pregame. And so we just made the decision. So Hudson got the start, probably in the best way possible. Like he knew about a few minutes before the first snap that he was going to start. And man, I think life's about opportunities. And what do you do with your opportunities? And what he did with his, he went out and had 5 catches for 177 yards, 3 touchdowns. And we gave him. No, we didn't give him. He earned a scholarship, and we put him on scholarship. He's been really productive, man. In practice, and we were just waiting for him to do it in a game, and he broke out. And so, man, super happy for him. Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of West Virginia, and had a phenomenal senior year. You could see him. He's not one of these guys that's just going to be okay. He's got a real chance. He can run. And so he's really progressed over the last year, and so happy for him and his family also. Yeah, right then, man. Battle time promotion.
Duquesne had 6 pass plays of 15 yards or more tonight.
Yeah, that's concerning.
What's it going to take to clean up some of those breakdowns?
Yeah, that's we got to be better in the secondary. Like that's, our hope was we brought in some veterans and we were going to fix that, and quite frankly, we haven't done that through 2 games. And so we've got to go back to the drawing board. Now we worked on some things last week that we didn't show in this game because who we got coming up. But we got to get those things corrected. And some of it's just a little bit of when it's time to go play, we got to make plays. We had guys falling down the first quarter, like just falling down. And so we've got to play better. I thought the rest of the second quarter, beginning of the third, they got in the spots they were supposed to be. Some of those down later in the third into the fourth, where we had our 3s and 4s in. Not as concerned with those. Not that it's okay. But some of them early. Now the one kid can run, like he's legit fast. The Keyshawn Brown, like he can really run. But still, like we got to be better. It's like to say I'm frustrated with that would be an understatement.
Downfield plays, more explosive plays this time. Is that more pleasing to you?
Well, we seem to be more accurate on the downfield passes than we do the short ones. So like we're probably going to call more of those. No, I think that. We called some of those last week, and we didn't get them matched up coverage-wise. We just missed them. And tonight we were intentional about calling them more. We practiced them quite a bit on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And so it was good to see them come to fruition and be able to connect in a game.
What do you do for 2 hours during the delay?
Well, I think that's where you got to be really careful. So I had some experience coaching and playing. And so we really just kind of left them alone. And it kept resetting, and so we just left them alone. We met as coaches for a minute, and I wasn't real pleased at the start of that. Probably the break was as good for me as anybody because I was at kind of a breaking point there with just how we played early. But we just really left the guys alone. And our offense skill guys went there and caught balls. Sometimes you could tell after that, sometimes you couldn't. But we caught a bunch of balls. Coach Mike, when we felt like pretty good that was going to be the last 30-minute break, then we treated it like a halftime. And then we started our warm-up process inside and then carried it out onto the field. And listen, like, that's hard to do. You shut down everything. And so credit to our guys. Like, I'm frustrated with how we played early, but I'm really pleased with how they handled adversity. We challenged them in the locker room about, being mentally tough, and the response was good. And they came out and took care of business.
Coach, how would you describe the vibe or the feeling around the team early on when it kind of was unraveling in a bad way? Because obviously it didn't go well early on, but
unraveling is a strong word, Mike. Like, we know it was 14-10, so unraveling is a strong word. Like, your word, not my word. It wasn't going well. That's fair. That not going well is fair. Yeah. That not going well was fair. That's fair. To be honest, like, there were some frustrating things, but, like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that they had to overcome some adversity. I really don't. Now, I wrote the script that we were going to not do a good job pointing at a short punt, and it hits one of our players, or that we were going to blow a couple coverages? No. Or we were going to drop 2 touchdown passes in the end zone? I wouldn't have written that script. But the hope is, long-term wise, is the guys rallied together. They had really good energy in late in the game, cheering on some of those younger guys. And so, we had some adversity. And you can watch these games across the country. Some teams handle them better than others, right? I think the score ended up kind of where it needed to be, but it wasn't pretty early. And so I credit our guys for hanging in there and taking care of business late.
Coach, Preston being able to bounce back from a tough early start to get the touchdown catch and do well.
Say again now, Kevin. Who would you
Preston Fox.
Yeah, Preston. Yeah, I was really pleased with him. Uncharacteristic.
Mentally about him.
Yeah, it was. He had a tough first quarter there.
Right.
He really uncharacteristic, lacked some urgency going up and pointing. We knew their punter had been, up and down as far as distance on his punts. And we just he didn't do a good enough job going up and being urgent and pointing and getting our guys away. He needed to have more urgency there. And then we purposely called that pass play because we felt like he could get open on that. And Garrett threw the deep ball really well today. And so I was really pleased because he came back after the break and made a really nice play on a vertical. Again, another really good pass by Garrett. But that's a tough catch up the seam, so I was pleased with him. And he's about the right things. Like, he's better than what he put on tape early, and he hasn't done that. So I was pleased with how he bounced back.
That was really the point of my question. What lets him bounce back on that? It seems like he was able to put that aside really quickly, come back and have a really
Yeah, I think that's a question for him, Kevin. What I would say, though, is he's got a lot of confidence that's earned through a bunch of repetitions. The only thing that I got on him about, not necessarily the drop, I got on him about lack of urgency on the pointing, okay, and which he should do better. We practice that situation a lot, and that's frustrating. There's some things that were on tape. Like, we teach our guys not to reach. Now, Rodney's a young player, and he's trying to score his first touchdown, but you should never reach the ball unless it's on 4th down. So you go back and you reteach those things, even though we've done it on this stage numerous times, and the pointing on – on a short punt is one of those. Now, because Preston has confidence, because he has repetitions, because I think how we handled on the sideline, he was able to come back and make a play later on. Greg, you rest.
You mentioned Garrett. Was that as well as he's thrown in a game so far?
Yeah, he made some really nice plays in the Kansas State game. Everybody kind of overlooks that. Because the first interception, if you remember, he threw an interception early against Kansas State, but that was a strike. We ran the route poorly. So he threw, if you remember, he had the 70, 60, high 60, early 70, hit Sam James right in stride. So he threw the ball well then. We've got to get him where he hits his layups. He still, and I said that earlier in the week, I thought he was better today. Now he threw the first deep ball to Hudson was a great throw. And he threw the one to Preston was a great throw. He threw one to Jeremiah Aaron he didn't make play on. That was a great throw. And so he probably threw the deep ball better today than he has in a game.
How do you like what you got out of Jaheim White and Justin Johnson?
Well, Justin didn't play. Justin was banged up, so he missed the game. Big DJ Oliver's who you're talking about. Yeah, so those guys got a bright future. Jaheim didn't practice on Tuesday and Wednesday of the Penn State game, so didn't feel like it was fair to play him. And so He got better as the week went, and he practiced all week. And so I think he's got a chance to be special. You know, he's strong. He's not real tall, but he's strong. He's got really good hands. He picked up a blitz tonight, did a nice job. He breaks tackles. He got. I would have liked to see him score on that first long run he had. You know, I think he got a little tired, but he's got a bright future.
How would you evaluate Rodney Gallagher? Obviously,
Yeah, you know,
his half there. And
he did, but he's getting out and playing and kind of working through it. You know, he like as soon as he came over to me, he's like, I shouldn't have reached it out. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I wish you would have noticed that a few seconds ago. But he's going to play a lot of really good football here. And always, if you remember me saying this, Mike, back even at the end of the recruiting process after he signed, I was like, I think we got to be careful with our expectations of him. You know, because he hasn't played a whole lot of the receiver. The thing that I've been really proud of him about is his play on special teams and his willingness to block. And he's been physical. And so I wish he would have got in the end zone there. But I was pleased overall with how he did.
Traylon Ray hurt.
Traylon Ray's out. Yeah. So, you know, part of it is just the volume of work probably because he didn't get here till the last week of June. And so he dealt with an injury the week before Penn State. Didn't practice on Tuesday. Did practice on Wednesday. Played a little bit against Penn State, and then practiced a little bit on Tuesday. And then we just made the decision, like, let's shut him down. Let's rest him. Now the lightning break was good for him. He got 2+ hours of rehab in, so he was working while kind of everybody else was hanging out. The hope is that he can get back and on Monday be ready to go. We need him. Yeah, he turned his ankle. I don't know. We'll know more. A lot of times overnight, see how those things swell.
How can you continue to get Cole Taylor more involved in the offense?
Yeah, we'll continue. If this game was closer, we had some things like he's been consistent. You know, he and Devin have been the most consistent as far as making plays on the ball during fall camp, and so we'll continue to use him. He's got a really good skill set. He's blocked well too. He's done a nice job. He did a nice job against the Penn State guys.
What do you think of Nico's reps after he came in and started the third?
Yeah, little. He was juiced early and then kind of calmed down. I thought he managed the game well. He had a couple good runs that got him on the edge. I thought that kind of broke it up. He had a great throw to Jeremiah there on a dig on a ball a play he scrambled and hit Jeremiah on a dig. And so it's hard to tell until you watch it. But I thought he was ready to play. He was locked in. Chad called the plays all during the second half, and I thought he did a nice job too. Kept Nico in a good rhythm.
How do you feel about the receivers? Because you're talking about guys who are in and out of the lineup. You have young guys. Hudson kind of comes out of nowhere. A lot of options, but also a lot of options.
Yeah, well, we just haven't been consistent, Mike. You've watched it. You know, we just haven't been consistent enough there. And I think our talent's good enough. Devin's played a lot of football. He'll be back. I hope he's full go on Monday, if not Tuesday. But we've got to get him some help. You know, Hudson showed today that he can play, and that'll increase his playing time. But we need some of those other guys to step up and go. You know, Rodney got some opportunities. Traylon Ray will really help us when he's healthy. He's going to play. When he's healthy, he's going to play. But we've been inconsistent there, you know, and we've got to get better. I think, you know, our receiver play and improving in the secondary are going to be absolutely critical to the success we'll have moving forward.
Can he take the next step and do that against some higher numbers?
Yeah, he's going to get opportunities for sure. You know, the thing that for him is physically he's ready. The thing that he's done is he's had mistakes, and he didn't have those tonight. I never worry about the moment being too big. He played in some big high school football games. I mean, he probably had the best state championship game I've ever seen. You know, we had bowl practice that day, so I couldn't go, but I was sitting there watching it on the live feed, and I couldn't believe it. I don't know how many touchdowns. He's 6 or 8 touchdowns. It's something crazy. So I never worry about the moment being too big for him. He's strong enough. He's fast enough. And so I think today only helps him. He's going to get opportunities. He's earned himself playing time today for sure.
Okay, anything else for Coach?
All right. Thank y'all for hanging in there. Long day.